I found a way to communicate with the afterlife. I'm now convinced I'm going to be dead tomorrow. When I was approached by a company offering $100,000 to assist on their project, I was immediately interested. I was desperate for money, and despite how strange the email was, I had to do this. We're looking for an experienced audio technician for one of our projects. We've listened to your samples, and your sound processing skills in particular seem to be exactly what we're looking for. Your participation will be payment of up to $100,000 for 3 days of work. If you are interested, please reply within 48 hours. As the nature of this project is highly confidential, no information will be passed on to you about the nature of this project before you sign an NDA, along with a waiver that agrees to the possibility of your death during this project. I thought something about that last part was strange, having to sign a death waiver for something as simple as an audio technician job, but I decided to reply back anyways, not knowing this would soon be the biggest mistake of my life. The company immediately responded and said I had an appointment at their premises at 9 a.m. the next day. I announced myself at reception, and a woman in a white scientist's coat who introduced herself as Elizabeth invited me to accompany her to her office. After signing the NDA and my death waiver, she led me through a maze of corridors to where I would be working. You'll soon understand why we had you sign a confidentiality agreement. The research we do here is highly confidential, and we've already made a major discovery that just needs one last push, she said, turning to me with a smile. I hope I can help you in the way you expect, but if you don't mind me asking, why exactly did I need to sign a death waiver for this project? I said. Elizabeth said nothing and said we should keep walking, still in the dark about the mission I was about to be given. We arrived in a spacious room already occupied by another man, also wearing a white coat and whom I assumed to be her superior by the authoritative look in his eyes and his advanced age. Mr. Meltran, I presume? I'm Darren DeLon, Chief Scientist. Delighted to have you with us. Please sit down. I sat down opposite them on a table that was empty except for a strange object whose origin and function I couldn't account for. Mr. Meltran, I'm not going to beat about the bush. You're going to be involved in the most important project of your life for the next 3 days. Do you see this device? He asked, pointing to the object in the center of the table. This device is what I've been working on for the last 20 years of my life. You see, I've always been certain that there was life after death, and this device, I'm convinced, is what will enable me to prove it. I inspected the object more closely. At first glance, it didn't look much, about the size of a laptop and just under 12 inches high. It was entirely black, and only a circle like a loudspeaker in the center of the upwardly exposed face was visible. It was connected to a portable keyboard that sat right in front of the scientist. We can't reveal precisely how it works, but to put it simply, this device allows us to listen to frequencies that until now had never been reached. Frequencies that we are certain correspond to the beyond, the afterlife. You'll understand the problem we're facing, Elizabeth said, pressing a key on the keyboard in front of her and looking at a screen I assumed was on the other side of the device. Instantly, a sound from elsewhere pierced my eardrums. The sound was unmistakably high-pitched and seemed static, despite the fact that I had the impression of hearing pitch variations without being able to distinguish them. Elizabeth finally cut the sound with a grimace after pressing a few keys. Mr. Meltran, we're not asking you to believe us about our discovery. All we're asking is that you work hard to analyze and filter this sound and turn it into something usable. I was circumspect, but they both seemed very serious. You really think there's something in that sound? What do you think it is? A silence fell. Elizabeth looked at her superior out of the corner